You're listening to Level Up with Wondr, a podcast where we take listeners on a journey through the exciting world of gaming, tech, and innovation. Join the Wondr Nation team as we talk with a diverse group of pros who have taken their skills to the next level.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Level Up with Wondr Nation. I'm Megan. I'm the Vice President of Professional Services and Sales here at Wondr, and I'm very excited to have my team here with me today. I'd love to introduce Danny Lutz and Tiffany Sides. We'll go a little deeper into what we do here at Professional Services and have a really nice chat. So with that, why don't we go into introductions?
Thank you so much, Megan. I'm happy to be the newest member of the Wondr Nation team. I think it's been about 6 months now. It's been a great ride so far. Very excited to be here. I originally started back at Caesars about 16, 17 years ago, working at the hotel front desk and learning all aspects of the hotel, switching over to the casino marketing department, working in VIP, hosting VIP, and then finally ending in national casino marketing. So working in corporate with all 40 to 50 of our Caesars properties and working with our VIPs across the brand to build loyalty. I then moved over to BetMGM, where I started to learn the digital side of the industry. And finally, here I am with Wondr Nation.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Sides. I've been a marketing consultant with Wondr Nation for about a year and a half. I have over 20 years of experience in the casino industry. Started out as a marketing coordinator on the Strip, moved downtown. I worked at regional properties, worked at local properties, ultimately just getting as much knowledge as I can and hands-on experience from a direct marketing perspective, loyalty, PR, advertising, digital, and everything in between. So I work with Wondr Nation, of course, on the marketing front, identifying clients, opportunity, strategy, anything that we can do from a marketing perspective to level up their business, whether it's from a revenue side, brand side, customer offering, service side, and also assist with launches of new platforms and then continued correspondence, communication, activation, direct partnership. Very much have enjoyed my time with Wondr, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So I think if I had to summarize the experience of my team, and we'll get into specifically what Professional Services does, where I'm really fortunate is I've been in the industry 15 years, but I've always been on the vendor side. I have a business development and sales background. And so to be able to have such strong bench strength on my team who speak the nomenclature, really understand the needs of being an operator. They understand not only the stressors, but how success is found on properties really sets us apart. Specifically to answer what Professional Services does here at Wondr Nation, we want to bring the successes that have happened here in the state of Connecticut, just for the simple fact that Wondr Nation is the license holder for the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation. They've run a successful social casino for many years. We actually manage that social casino, Fox Play, on behalf of Foxwoods Now. And so to take not only the expertise of my team and myself, but bring that experience outside the state of Connecticut. So we look at the digital trends that are happening in the industry, how are sweepstakes and predictions impacting not only tribal gaming, but commercial gaming, route operators. How is it just changing the landscape? Not only do we keep ourselves really on the pulse of things, but we help other operators figure out what's next for them, what's going to be the right solution that's going to do all the things that we need to do. So what are those? It's building brand loyalty. It's creating a competitive advantage in your landscape, creating new diversification streams. It's looking down the road of how do I build out a digital database so that once regulations change or things shift in my state regulations, how do I stay at that cutting edge of what's happening and how do I keep a relevancy? And so instead of having to hire a team of, maybe half a dozen to a dozen folks and experts, we really want to be able to step in and be that supportive arm and be that digital expertise to amplify the enterprise that has been so successful, whether that's brick and mortar or a new route operation or an existing commercial casino as well. So that's really what we do. We take all of our expertise and we evaluate partners, and whether that's platforms or research partners or what have you. And we say, have they met that Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation standards Do they meet Wondr Nation standards? And how can we make that a really successful implementation? And so just to come full circle, the fact that I do have such strong people on my team, I can say, here's a social casino, here's a social sports betting platform, here's a new fantasy sports platform, here's a class 2 mobile on-prem platform. And we're able to translate that not only from a functionality perspective, but also from a perspective of how do we implement that into a customer journey? How do we implement that into an existing loyalty system? I can especially say both of them have done events with me now, and they just have that on-prem activation. They're not scared to talk to customers. They understand the importance of telemarketing and the prep ahead of time. Maybe we can provide like an anecdotal story from one of our most recent events. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Megan. One of our most recent events was partnering with our team at Foxwoods, who has an event called Bingo Unleashed. So we partnered with them to represent Fox Play and do activations with them. While at the event, we were able to have guests scan our QR code, inform guests about Fox Play, find out who was already on the app, find new users. And there was one couple who was very sweet. I got to talk to them for a while, and they were actually from Canada. They're only able to visit Foxwoods a few times a year, and they had no idea about the Fox Play app. So they were very excited to find out that they can take Foxwoods home with them back to Canada and keep earning reward points and tier credits and everything like that while they're gaming at home in a social environment.
I love that story. That was one of my favorite stories that came out of that activation that we did. And I think just to understand, social is not something that's going to take away from a brick and mortar business. One of the things that we really focus on is either leveraging an existing brand or making an adjacent digital brand, and then making that something that's a part of a customer journey, whether it's during check-in or checkout, the mailers that go out, QR codes on premise. So there's so many ways that we can really amplify this and ultimately drive not only loyalty, but that revenue diversification for years to come. So Wondr Nation and the professional services team, we are under the Mashantucket at Pequot Tribal Nation umbrella. We are the digital arm for MPTN. What's really exciting about that is it does change, and I think amplifies our approach to how we work on things. If you're at a corporation, which we all have been in our previous lives, we've been fortunate enough to see how corporate life works. Here, we're really rooted in the benefit of the tribe. So the impacts are almost immediate. We're able to see the benefits for the tribal members and the community that we serve. So not only is that really exciting, but it also allows us to say, how can we make sure that this growth is sustainable for truly the next 7 generations? And what does that mean for the tribe? I think when we say what influences our strategy and what influences the decisions we make, it's really the diligence. And it's really the looking down the road into the future to ensure the success, not only for our partners and the various operators that we work with, but also the success that we can bring back to the Mashantucket Pequot tribe. And I think what casinos can benefit from working with us is because MPTN is such a long-standing tribe, they have great processes in place, and there's a diligence through procurement, through RFPs, even through a diligence process that Wondr Nation has implemented to select partners. This isn't something where we're going to be recommending the next best thing. We're actually going to be recommending someone who's met the really stringent process that has had to be dug through and really found the right commercial terms, the right technical backbone, the right partners who are going to be able to not only launch, but then continue to develop and make exciting platforms for our customers. I know, for Tiffany and Danny, this is a different side of evaluating partners, definitely being on the other side of the table for negotiation. So I think it'd be great for you all to chime in on how that's changed your perspective as well, from coming from the operator side and now being a part of the diligence and making sure that we have the right partners to propose to our potential customers.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that too. One of the very special things, at least for me, is that you actually can see the impact and the benefits. I came from the commercial world, so we had shareholders and stockholders, but here we can actually see the benefits, the remodeling of the classrooms, the building of the wellness center that we just went to the groundbreaking ceremony for, and meeting the tribal members that we're impacting every day. And then just touching on what Megan says, one of the favorite things that she always says for me is we're shortening the runway. We're doing the diligence, we're doing the work ahead of time. So that way you don't have to spend that extra time trying to find those partners. We vetted those partners, we found trusted partners, and we know that they're going to bring great success to everyone.
Danny said it perfectly. I've only worked with commercial operators as well, whether it was for stakeholders or for an individual. I feel like my work has meaning because of those reasons you state, that we're doing something good, and any action and revenue decisions and strategy decisions, we're not only working on making money, which of course is ultimately why we're here. So cool to see that money going into not necessarily individuals' pockets, but into the pockets of the tribe. The commercial operator side, which we love too, and I'm very thankful for, but I've just really enjoyed my tribal side. At the end of the day, we have different clients ranging from well-established for over X number of years to brand new and looking to break ground to might not even have a land footprint, right? Being able to bring different ideas and opportunities and work alongside folks to determine the best path forward, whether it is creating a digital brand in this fashion or a social casino app, what have you. But ultimately, again, just bringing money to their bottom line, which will fuel their next generation.
No, I love that. I count myself very lucky to have the duality of understanding what it is to work in a corporate and what it is to work in a tribe. I think in both situations, we're all super fortunate. And I think that just adds to the benefit and the different lens that we bring to our engagements. And just jumping into what does make us different. I think we've touched on this a bit. So not only is it the diversity of thought that we bring to the table, it's the different life experiences that we've had. I really think that because we're so passionate about digital here at Wondr Nation and on my professional services team, we really are keeping track of what's happening with sweepstakes and how is that impacting everyone says the existential threat to gaming in general. And this is not just a tribal issue. This is an industry issue. To be able to be part of those conversations, to be able to assist with the education that comes with this, and just to position ourselves as a trusted partner is what makes a difference.
Part of the competitive advantage that we can add is regardless of where the legislation is in your state, or regardless of where your state stands with sports betting or sweepstakes or prediction markets or anything like that, one of the most advanced things you could do would be first getting that education is what we're here for, and giving you that advantage.
So as far as the businesses that we can help, I think we've touched on this in a couple of different ways, but really at the end of the day, what we're looking for are enterprises and businesses that have a database. They have loyal customers who are coming, they're checking with them, they're seeing what offers they have. At the end of the day, there's always exciting new ways to add, a digital experience into that customer journey. When we look at the businesses that we can help the most, it's ones who are curious about what their future could be. I think it's the ones who have begun some of I always say kicking the tires, and I love a good euphemism. And so they're kicking the tires. They're really exploring what that digital component could be, digital payments, mobile concierge, an app that they can have to represent their brand. Maybe it's a refresh of their website, adding in class 2 mobile on-prem, adding in a social sports betting feature, adding in a social casino. When people are saying, what could this do for my brand? How can I really generate revenue? How can I move the needle? I think that's where we can step in and be that digital arm and be that support layer. It's about activating the database, growing the database, and then long-term creating a digital database that can continue to be leveraged.
I know we have a big education piece when we come in and start talking to new clients, and we always want to make sure that we let everyone know that this is an additive product as well, an additive solution. A lot of people think or believe that this takes away from their brick and mortar, it takes away from customers coming in. But what we found in our experience with our current partners is it's completely additive. Like the story I told earlier about the customers from Canada, they weren't able to come in multiple times a year, but now they can play all the time online. We're not taking away anything from the brick and mortar. We're not taking away anything from their loyalty. We're strictly adding to the loyalty, which is always a big thing that we kind of have to educate everyone on. I know when we meet for the first time, it's usually a big piece of the puzzle we put together for people.
All roads lead to revenue. So at the end of the day, we're looking for pioneers, innovators, folks who want to get into the digital space, want to learn more. At the root of it, it's clients that want to make more money, whether it's for their corporation, their tribe. That is how Wondr Nation can benefit immediately, is revenue diversification. And it's okay if you're not sure where to start. I know that the digital gaming side of things can be very intimidating. There's a lot going on, a lot changing. And I think that's what the coolest part is. Myself, Danny, Megan, the Wondr Nation team is happy to walk alongside you and to guide you and to meet with you and to identify money-making opportunities, to identify how we can elevate your brand and remain competitive in your area.
100%. With that, since we're on the Level Up podcast, let's really highlight the 3 key ways Wondr Nation can help your business level up. We've touched on revenue quite a bit. I think the other thing too is having a preparedness for the future. So our industry is changing so much and so quickly. And something that we talk about on the professional services team so much is just trend watching. And I think there's so much content to consume. There's so many changes happening so quickly on a local, state, and federal level. I think to have a team like us that can take some of that burden off, that can support with the education, whether it's a tribal council, whether it's a board, your executive team, and things like that, we can really be that additive support team to help with the education and help with the decision making. It's really focusing on the future, what's next, how do we make decisions with the information that we have now? And I think that's super important. So number 1 is the revenue. Number 2 is being prepared for the future. And then number 3, I really feel is the competitive advantage. And I've worked for 15 years, primarily in tribal gaming. What's fascinating to me is living in Vegas for so long, you think, wow, this is the epicenter of a competitive market. And then you go to other markets and the competitiveness doesn't go away. In fact, it may be even more amplified when you're a regional operator because you're really trying to grab for all of those people. And I think where digital can come in and really equalize things is the fact that you're not competing just for maybe the 120-mile radius. You now have the ability to expand and introduce players and guests. Maybe they are in Canada. Maybe you're a regional operator and you have a player in Florida who becomes a whale and is spending quite a bit of money with you and building loyalty. It's about that, building the database, maintaining that competitive edge, and really getting your brand out in new and exciting ways. There's quite a few other ways through process and selection that get us to the revenue, get us to the brand, get us to the competitive edge. But I think that's where our team is really well positioned, is in all the ways that we do that. So just to wrap things up, this has been a wonderful chat. I always love getting together with my team and talking about this. We'd love to have these type of digital conversations and forward-facing conversations. Please reach out to us, whether it's Tiffany, Danny, or myself. You can reach the professional services team. We're all on LinkedIn. You can also reach us at professionalservices@wondrnation.com. That's our group email. And let's have the conversation. Let's figure out ways that we can help you level up and find new ways for revenue diversification, find that competitive edge and the brand awareness, and keep things growing and building for your enterprise.
Thank you for listening to Level Up with Wondr. Visit wondrnation.com/level up for more podcast episodes about how we're reimagining the gaming entertainment industry. Want to level up your business? Visit our contact page at wondrnation.com to inquire about our strategic consulting or management services.